the stories just are immense of the memories that they're making on the water when they're
Yeah.
out fishing with them, because they get a whole day on the lake with them. They're fishing, they're making memories. They might be, they might win the tournament. They may have really good finishes, but I've never had anyone say, yeah, I wish we didn't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the year, even people that I talk to that have their kids have since graduated and are on and doing their journey, they go, those were the best moments ever.
Hello, Jeff. This is the Entre podcast. Welcome back, folks. This is episode 6, and we have Mr. Jeff Cook with FAN. And what is FAN? It stands for Faith Anglers Network.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about that today and how fishing can lead you to God sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's our mission.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. I grew up fishing and had a lot of great memories doing that. So with my grandfather and my dad and all that good stuff. So Jeff, before we get started, I would like to maybe do some background on you from tech industry to nonprofit founder and what that looks like, and just kind of an overview of brief history of your life and your career and what you've done and how we got here today. We'll kind of do a timeline of how we're here today and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, in the interest of keeping that short, I've been in corporate America for a little over 37 years. And, prior to that, getting out of high school, I got fired from every job I ever did because I was working in a space that just wasn't conducive to me and my character and my skill set. I wasn't a mechanic. I didn't do well working on rigs back in the 80s. That's what everybody went and did, right? You went and tried to throw a chain or, paint a derrick. And so I really just failed epically on so many things. And really kind of the funny story is that, I'm married, my son is born, and I was working for a company that was, again, in the oil industry. And they just said, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. My dad picked me up one day and took me, we lived in Houston, to a career counselor.
Okay.
And said, help him figure out what he's good at. And so the method, I believe, was the Berkman method. I could be wrong, but they basically said I need to be working with people and not things.
Okay.
Whether it's customer facing or relate. So that really helped me point me in a direction. And I started looking for customer service jobs. And again, I'm pretty young. I was married very young. And that was probably the best thing, because it made me really realize what I was good at. And that's building relations, being able to talk to people, not, busting my knuckles on wrenches. Yeah. And that really gave me the trajectory to go be where I ended up ultimately some 40 years later as a client executive, managing some of the world's largest global accounts, helping them solve very, very complex digital transformation projects.
So I got a funny story just talking about that. You're not very mechanical, I imagine, right?
Yeah, no, my wife can do things I can't in the car.
So my dad was a diesel mechanic growing up as a kid, and he worked on, big rigs, trucks, and all this. And, what kid doesn't want to be like his dad? So I would break apart these Briggs and Stratton, 5 horsepower motors and try to put them back together. And I could never get it put back together. That was me.
Yeah.
So just like you, I figured out I'm not mechanical at all. But anyways, I just wanted to share that quick story.
Yeah. Well, you learn you have to. It's a pretty painful, I'm young and married and I can't keep a job. And again, this was like it really happened in 1988 where I got my first job with a company that was able to help mentor me and help me develop, not just the discipline from being able to come in the day to structure your day, to what it looks like to, we used to back in the day, we didn't have technology. So you either went to the library and did all your research through Thomas registries or different physical books, or you just walked into buildings and you knocked on the door and said, who handles your, at this time, document productions or whatever. And so those are skills today that I would tell anybody: you can't cut that corner.
Yeah.
You have to do that. If you get out of school or whatever, you just can't go, and you're not going to get the, senior director role. I mean, you have to learn.
Yeah.
You just have to learn what that means, and then you do appreciate it. So I thought that, I mean, that was an amazing opportunity. I'm very grateful to my dad for doing that. And then my career just kept growing, and I left there and I went to Dell, and that's when my technology career started. I
Yeah.
was managing a sales organization for Icon here in Austin, and all of my employees were leaving to go to Dell. This was in the right around 1998, 99, where they were just kind of
Yeah.
really blowing up. I said, I'm kind of tired of this,
Yeah.
So I looked and found a job in Dell, and I'll go through this more as to how I got into where I am today from a fishing ministry. Started in Maryland when they relocated me there, but it was all really good. But I mean, I don't know too far ahead, but somewhere in that journey, when I became a follower of Christ, I said I needed to serve God. There was a crossover.
Okay.
And I think we'll probably get to that at some point too. But so 37 some years trying to go from, scraping rust off a derrick to running a multi-million dollar business for a large company. It's a good place to finish.
So if you're young and you're beginning, right after high school or college, it's finding your strengths, right? You got to find what you're good at. And I read a book one time called Strength Finders 2.0, and it kind of gives you, like, a lot of people try to focus on focus on your weaknesses, try to make up for those. But if you just find your strengths and focus on those, that can take you a really long ways, right? So I think, like you're saying, being that you're good with people and doing something that either it's sales or whatever, building teams, that was probably where you were really good at, and you thrived at that.
Yeah, it was I would say also that I was good in building relationships with clients and instilling some level of trust and having compassion and listening,
Yeah.
understanding what their needs are, and trying to find a way to solve those needs within our capabilities of technology. And that really is, and then it becomes to leading. And Stephen Covey says, you manage things, you lead people.
Right.
And that's a book's been around for a long time. So
Mhm.
when I was reading that was kind of an aha moment for me.
Yeah.
So I'm managing people. I'm trying
Yeah.
to manage, and it's like, it doesn't work. And so I also tried to be in management. A lot of times the career trajectory is sales, sales, sales. You do really, really good. And ultimately you go get a manager job. But if you're not really, that
It's
isn't
two
what
different things.
motivates you.
Yeah.
And it's a different skill set. That's a place to fail.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in corporate America, that's where we all think we want to go. And I did that. And I realized that may not have been, that wasn't for me.
Mhm.
I love leading a team, and in my capacities and accountant executive, I could lead a team, but I don't have to babysit 20 sales reps like me,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's like, oh my gosh, So again, management in that capacity isn't for everybody. It
Yeah.
takes a different skill set. And but motivating and leading a team is definitely it was fun. And when you win, the team wins.
Yeah.
And when you lose, you just go, okay, what can we do differently?
Right.
And this, we live on a 90-day cycle in corporate America. Every 90
Gotta-
days, you got to figure out, did you hit your number? Did you miss
Right.
your number? And then reset. So
Especially if you're on the Wall Street, on the trade on the New York Stock Exchange or something,
yeah,
or the
yeah.
NASDAQ.
Everything rolls
Get it.
around earnings calls.
Right. So you spent 37 years in senior technology roles working on global organizations. So we talked about, your leadership, solving problem, and basically solving problems is listening a lot of times and trying to come up with solutions for that. And then there's this transition, right? And where there's something that stirred the call from shift from technology to ministry. And something you had emailed something the other day, Jeff, and it reminded me. I was a big John Maxwell fan. I'm a certified John Maxwell coach, speaker, trainer, but I don't ever really use that in that capacity. I would kind of use it more or less in my role as a owner of a business. But John said something that I learned, that I heard him say one day, and he said, success is when you add value to yourself, and significance is when you add value to others.
Mm.
And you had emailed, said you were going from this life from success to significance. And I was like, wow, it reminded me about that. And so let's talk about this shift from technology, that was your successful career, and into this significant life of ministry. Another thing John said was sometimes you got to have some success under your belt in order to get to significance, though.
Mhm.
And so let's talk about that shift here that happened to you in your life. What
Yeah.
happened to you?
And it is. I truly believe that, and it somewhere that resonated with me. That was a shift because I felt successful. In fact, probably the bad thing was is my identity was tied around my work.
Mm-hmm.
I traveled all over the world. I worked with the largest companies. We did massive deals. It was really who I said I was. And when people would ask me, and this is a problem I think across the board with men, but it doesn't just resonate with men. Our identity is maybe something we're doing in
Mm-hmm.
corporate America, but that's not what we're called to do.
Mm-hmm.
We're called to be significant for the kingdom, for those of us that are believers. And I did all those things, and it was great. And I also had Fan. Fan has been around for a while. It
Okay.
was started in 2009, but I kept using my work and that income to kind of funnel it and fund it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of ignoring this call back here that's saying, Jeff, go
Yeah.
build my kingdom. And I kept saying, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing fine. I'm working.
Yeah.
And, over the last 3 or 4 years, I that tug kept getting stronger and stronger. And at one point, quite candidly, it wasn't just me being obedient. It really took a large company. We were acquired by a $1 trillion market cap company. They were stripping all of the VMware employees, and that's when it's like, all right, God, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
I can go back and go look for that job with that pay and all those comfortable, great things. And it was like, no, you've been a good steward of your money. A lot of this is what you're saying is if as you're working, you should be able to build a model of reduce your debt, get into a financial space where you can, quite candidly just be able to live for a little bit
Yeah.
if you don't, because in a technology world today, it could take you 6 months or longer to get reemployed.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing that God taught me and my wife was financial security, building a financial secure environment to weather tough storms.
Yeah.
And then once you're at that phase, and again, being a little older, I already saw that I'm not going to be doing this. I don't want to be doing this forever. It just got cut short, and just God, it's like this, Moses is at the burning bush. It's on fire, and God is telling him to go to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
No, God, I can't speak well. I got a problem. So it's just all these excuses.
Yeah.
And God's going, go.
Yeah.
Right. Same with Jonah going to Nineveh. It's like, no, it's dangerous. No, at some point, God says, trust me.
Mm-hmm.
I will take care of you. Put all this worldly stuff aside and go.
Yeah.
And that happened September of last year. And at that point, I will tell you, a weight just shedded from me.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, God, I'm going to go build your kingdom. Now I had a ministry. I've been doing it, but it was kind of a sideline job.
Yeah.
I was working and doing this, putting schedules together and going and doing it, but I wasn't all in.
Yeah.
And there was a call that said, trust me, go do what I'm at, go build the kingdom, and I will take care of you.
When was it loudest for you? When you really?
Well, when, candidly, I hate to say this, but at the time that they reorged, and I knew that I was on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Because I truly felt like my wife was dealing with a family issue in Colorado. I'm in Houston dealing with family. So there's a lot of stress going on with just family crises. And I go, hey, hon, I don't even know how to tell you this over the phone, but my last day will be September.
Yeah.
And she just said, that's fine. Trust God, Jeff. You know what you need to go do.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So that's a call. That's validation.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just all right. And it took me a while to
Yeah.
accept that still.
Yeah.
Said, all right, I'm going to go can I really do this? You know,
Yeah.
and I'd go look at LinkedIn and some of the, they're hiring for a client executive. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that. That money is like, Jeff, remember,
Right.
kingdom.
Right.
Go over here. Don't put your mind on the money.
Yeah.
And so then at that point, the Faith Angler Network was you're a 501c3. I've been organizing it, but I had to restructure it because now I have to build a model that can handle an employee for that. And then that's where I really started getting serious about building the 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 financial structure, the what am I supposed to do? And there's something uniquely exciting,
Yeah.
gratifying, and yet scary when you wake up every day and say, I have to go do something that's going to be honor God, give our student anglers, our ministry, feed them and grow them and grow fan.
Yeah.
And that's all I do. I wake up and I'm thinking, okay, what can I do that honors God and is going to fulfill our mission for Faith Angler Network? And I love that, but I'm still like, okay, God, what do you want me to do today? I'm more reliant on God and trusting in God's plan for this than me.
Yeah.
And that's scary, but extremely exciting.
For sure. Absolutely. God can move mountains, right? So let's talk about fishing. Did you grow up fishing?
I did.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
So as a little baby, my grandparents lived in Clinton, Oklahoma.
Okay.
So all my OU fans out there, Sooner Boomers. And my grandpa loved to fish. Both of my grandpas loved to fish, but Grandpa Brown on my mother's side, he was in it.
Yeah.
He had in his storm cellar, he raised minnows. You know what I mean? He had aquariums. He was raising minnows. He made his own stink bait. And when we would go and visit, and because we traveled, my dad was in the oil industry, so he traveled a lot. We always ended up there.
Mm-hmm.
And his old Ford pickup, man, it smelled like stink bait for a quarter of a mile down the road. And we would go to the Canadian River. We would go to the stock tanks, the local lakes, and we would just go fish. He'd fish for anything. Didn't really matter.
Yeah.
So I just remember growing up and going out and, whether I'm paying, I'm the kid, I'm bouncing around and he's pretty serious. And, I throw a rod out there and then a few minutes later, a catfish at Kate, just take it down the river and he's yelling, ah! But he got me out there.
Yeah.
And my dad also, when we grew up, I grew up in Houston for the most part. So we were always in the Galveston and fishing off the jetties, fishing off the surf and fishing. So fishing was something that I always was a fun experience growing up, very, very fond memories. It really wasn't until about 1991, 92, where I got the bass fishing bug.
Okay.
Through a friend that fished. He was from Jasper in the San Rayburn area.
Okay. And
he competed through the local bass tournaments. And so I'd go spend time with him. He was the one that got me my first bait caster. And so, and then I just started, getting more involved here. It's also the same time where I really started trying to identify who is God and what does he want with me? Mm-hmm. And in 91, I was baptized in Austin, here in the Austin area. And I said, I need to find a way to serve God and follow my passion. Mm-hmm. And we talk about passions are important. And so I started, I looked for a local Christian bass club and got connected with them and started doing things. And I made a friend who,
how old were you at this point, do you think?
91, I was in my 30s.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was an adult.
Okay.
Or trying to be.
Yeah.
So I met a friend, Mike Hastings, who was one of the best guides in the area, ran a tournament trail and fished on a larger competitive landscape, not like in the elites because that didn't exist, but the old FLW tour was around. And so he was in the business.
Okay.
He ran a trail. He was predominant guide in the area. And I was working for a company that printed, we did document discovery. So I had access to a lot of copies. He needed flyers.
Uh-huh.
Again, back in the day, it
Yeah.
wasn't posted on social media. He
Yeah.
literally printed a ton of flyers and took them to all the fishing and tackle stores. So I bartered with him. I'll print your flyers, take me fishing
Yeah.
on the boat.
Okay.
And so that kind of projected the whole how I got bit. Literally, I got caught
Yeah.
into the bass fishing world, and then they kind of all evolved through just going and fishing more competitively. And I went to Maryland. I was relocated by Dell to go to Maryland, and I'd been involved in the Christian bass clubs. I knew that was the space for me as a new Christian. I needed to be around people, right? Ironing, sharpening iron, men, accountability. It was good. It was safe. It's what I needed. And then I could go compete. I could go fish tournaments. In Maryland, not having a clue of anything, I said, well, I want to find that. So we'd go to hunting and fishing shows, and I met a gentleman who ran an organization called Fishers of Men.
Okay.
And it's a national tournament trail. I joined it, and it was really fun. We got to, fished all the cool bodies of water in that area. Fast forward, moved back to Austin, and there was nothing like that here.
Okay.
And so, the great mistake, jokingly, is if you call someone and say, "Hey, is there anything like that here?" And if not, how did we want started? Well, there wasn't. East Texas was the closest.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, however, if you want to start one, that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about running a tournament. I've never ran a tournament. I fished them. I don't know what goes on the back end. Well, my good friend Mike Hastings had.
Okay.
And so he was my mentor at this point. All right, what am I doing? Do we want to do this? He goes, yeah, we need this. It's spirit led. It's family friendly, and we need to do it. I'll not only support you, I'll help promote it. And so in 2003, we launched the Fishers of Men Central Texas division.
Okay.
And I learned a ton.
Yeah.
And that's what I did until 2008, when I moved to, we moved to Faith Angler Network. We launched Faith Angler Network. It was kind of another story, but my dad was he was right there with me at every tournament. He was with me. Unfortunately, he passed in a single car accident, and we'd been talking about this.
Yeah.
But we were, again, never really pushed it forward.
Yeah.
And then when I'm kind of going through his office, while I'm up there after the service, and he had written notes saying, Faith Angler Network, tournament trail. So he'd kind of been mapping it out.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, but we just,
I
said, man, I blew it. I really just messed up. And I said, well, I don't have to blow it any farther. So literally immediately I took the leaders on that we had, and we formed the 501c3 Fishers of Men. I resigned from Fishers of Men, and I started Faith Angler Network. Okay. And then we kind of went from there.
Awesome. So your dad kind of helped you lead you that way, and that gives you the fire to keep it going.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't really a big fisherman either, but he was a big proponent of being involved with his kids.
Yeah.
And so he would travel with me to the lakes and kind of run the spreadsheet where we recorded weights and kind of just hang around. And it was pretty remarkable that we had those moments. God had everything planned out, how all that was supposed to be prior to his accident.
How do kids find out about FAN?
So we're on all the social medias. We're faithanglerNetwork.com. We're on the Facebook and Instagram. We work with schools.
Okay.
So we'll go into a school district, a high school or a middle school, and ask, do you have a fishing program? Believe it or not, when we started this in 2013, we moved into the high school fishing program. There maybe were 2 or 3 high schools that were doing it.
Okay.
And now there's probably close to 60.
Okay.
All across the state, by the way. But my demographic is the Hill Country, Central South. We may go out to Waco. We've had people come as far as Centerville. And so it really just became word of mouth. kids are good about finding things online.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, they are.
they find us, their parents reach out and we
Yeah.
say, hey, there's a program near you. So where do you live? Well, okay, here's a program. So you can join a program, you can start a program. We'll come and help you. We'll work with the school, we'll work with you. And even that's blowing up. And
Mhm.
it's so exciting
Yeah.
because that's what we wake up to go do. So if we can help a school start a program, we're very much available and interested.
Okay. That's awesome. Faith Angler Network. And so so let's talk about how does fishing help bring young adults to God?
Hmm. Well, if with fan, our mission, that's our mission.
Hmm.
If you're out just fishing, I mean, just on the water, before even I
I mean,
understood
I don't
God's
get
creation,
right.
if you're out at, you could be at a duck blind, you could be out hunting in any opportunity you get where you're watching the sunrise on a lake or in the woods and you see that it's an awe-inspiring moment
Yeah.
and you wonder, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Right now, not everybody's going to do that. We'll lead, we'll explain a little bit about that. That is God's beautiful painting of
Hmm.
creation. Every morning's a new life, every morning. And so our mission is truly to share the life-changing reality of Jesus Christ with fishermen and their families
Hmm.
through competitive fishing, through outdoor events, through community events. And so if you participate in a Faith Angler Network event, whether it's at a big lake or a community pond or at a hog hunt somewhere, we're going to highlight these things and we're
Yeah.
going to connect biblical scriptures and stories to that moment. And that's how they're going to hear the word. But really the things that we've learned is these, they're middle school and they're high school kids.
Hmm.
And I've raised kids and that have gone through that public, homeschool, whatever. Kids need to connect.
Yeah.
They are screaming to be seen and heard and loved.
Yeah.
They want to belong to something. And in middle school, you've got a why. There's definitely a fork in the road,
Hmm.
and there are both of those are elements and forces that are vying for you.
Yeah.
There is the spiritual path. There's the identity in Christ. There's the identity in belonging and community, and then there's the darker forces,
Worldview.
the worldview,
Yeah.
and that is a pivotal moment in our kids' life and our young anglers' life and in whatever. So we see when these kids that are on the sideline, because not everybody plays football, baseball, or basketball,
Hmm.
but they all want to belong.
Yeah.
And so what they find is, I love to fish,
Yeah.
but I don't really, play baseball, whatever. So we help them or give them the venue, go join a club, get involved, or a parent will.
Hmm.
Parent will say, I'm going to drop you off.
Yeah.
And now they are connecting with like-minded souls that love fishing. They love to talk. So now they're connecting where they were on the sidelines, maybe quiet, alone is a very dangerous place to be isolated and
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
Now they're involved in an event and a community. They form a hierarchy of presidents. So they do like a regular school club would.
Yeah.
So they're engaged, and now they're part of the school's 4th of July parade.
Yeah.
So you've probably seen they're in the boats and they're driving down. They're getting involved. They're in the pep rally.
Yeah.
It changes them.
Yeah.
So they went from being introverted, isolated in a space, and then they're now like,
Right.
I'm part of a team.
Right.
And so that's where that's kind of an unexpected consequence but it's very biblical.
Yeah.
And so now they're part of a great program. They're out there and they're fishing. They could have a bad day. I mean, it's fishing. Come
Yeah.
on.
That's all they call it. Fishing,
It's
not
a very
catching.
humble experience. So what we do is not only do we have a message at the event, we're always promoting these kind of concepts and tools about how to navigate life.
Mhm.
And you come in, you catch a big, 5 pounds or 20 pounds of 5 fish, and you're, oh, look at me, I'm somebody. And
Yeah.
so that's okay. And then the next day or the next week or month, they're like, whoa, could you? Okay, so fishing doesn't define you either,
Right.
right? So just be, and I do this a lot because I'm on stage, I'm kind of the MC, and I try to also get them to be comfortable speaking.
Yeah.
So there'll be 200 or 300 people out there and come on stage and say, hey, Johnny, this is for Liberty Hill, and how was your day today? And some of them are like, real shy and whatever. So, well, is there anybody you want to thank? Any sponsors or anybody? And then they'll get up and they'll yeah, I want to thank my dad or grandpa. So that's my personal twist on it. I want them to be comfortable to be, look at the crowd and just speak, a little public speaking.
Sure. Yeah.
And some of them, well, they just come like that. They'll grab the mic from me and just kind of push me aside. Well, I'll tell you, our day started at 5 a.m. We were fishing ledges in 5 feet. It's like, okay, we're done. But so a little bit of both of that, right? And really just to get them to feel, to be connected. To kind of condense that, being involved, being connected, being, having spirit-led, spirit-filled messages that their identity is in Christ, the Creator, who loves you, cares for you, and has something for you. That's the seed we want to plant.
Yeah. And Jesus was a fisherman. So
Jesus was a fisherman. He's absolutely, he educated the fishermen for sure.
I don't remember the exact story in the Bible, but, I talk about how he led you to this and all this. But remember when, I don't know if it was Peter and all them, they were in the boat and they couldn't catch anything. And he's like, put the net in the water one more time. They're like, believe me, there's nothing out there.
We've been in here all day.
We've been here all day. We haven't caught anything. Lower your net. Trust me, And so sometimes we just got to trust him to lower the net.
Immediately went, we're following this guy. Right. That's true. There's a lot of parables and stories about fishing and Jesus in the Bible, and we try not to kind of run those over too bad because Matthew 4:19, follow me and I will make you fishers of men, and that's exactly what we our message. But truly, it's the Great Commission now, where we're called to build disciples.
Yeah.
So we've been doing this long enough where we've seen young men and young women. We have a good female participation, and parents where they get that now. Our focus in this season is, how can you go build disciples? Let's do the multiplier.
Yeah.
And so we're going to start trying to share messages along those lines.
Do you have a favorite fishing story at all?
Yeah. I have a lot of really great memories and a lot of things that I enjoy fishing, and so to narrow it down to just one fishing story, it's really, really hard. But the thing I think I missed the most, that I remembered the most, is when my dad and I went to Alaska, and we were truly a kind of rough it kind of experience where we took a bush plane on a kind of landlocked lake, and they drop us off as a little A-frame, and they throw your 200 pounds of stuff off and say, we'll see you in 3 days.
Yeah.
And, that was really good because it was, and I journaled a lot back then. I don't do it so much. Just a great experience with my dad and I. And then
the memories.
And then we went to a salmon creek where the salmon were running and we were catching, and we didn't know what we're doing. This is an element we've never had.
Yeah.
So those were memories that I'll cherish forever. And hope to be able to kind of do that again with maybe my kids, my son. But that's probably the one that I think is an emotional one for me. But there's a lot of stories out there. I mean, can get out there where having to remove hooks out of people's necks, but that's different memory for a different time.
For sure. Absolutely. For me, I grew up tank fishing with my grandfather. Some people call it pond, but we call it tank fishing. Fishing for bass, catfish. My dad, we used to wake up 4 a.m. and drive to Port Connor in the morning and come back around 3 on the weekend some days. And we did that all through my high school. He did that to keep me out of trouble. He's like, I got to get up early. I can't stay out too late. Me and Dad are going fishing in the morning. So that was good. So, very grateful for those memories. And I have a lot of memories. And then also just knowing how to fish, knowing how to cast an open reel, those things that you learn are skill sets too that fishing teaches you, you know. And I think that's, another story that I have. I'll fish when I'm showing property sometimes. And so,
Yeah. I noticed. I saw
yeah,
that picture.
well, when you bring in people from the city that want to buy a piece of property with a pond or tank on it, and you show them that there's bass in there and you catch them. I had this one kid one time say, "Can you eat it?" And I'm thinking to myself, how do they not know that this is where your food comes from anyways, And so it's hard for somebody that lives in the city to grasp that, oh, that's the same fish that gets to the store that I eat too, like they can't comprehend that. And so
Yeah.
getting outdoors and learning that and comprehending that is pretty powerful too.
Yeah, there's no question. It just reminded me of another story, if I may. And it's a funny story, but it was a lesson that I needed to learn as a father taking my son fishing. And he came in to visit me, and we were going to go up to a quarry.
Mm-hmm.
And he had his grandpa's favorite hula popper.
Yeah.
And he was cherished that thing. And so we go out, and, I'm probably in a hurry and just kind of wanting to go. And so, all right, Shane, we're going to go over here and you can do that. And I'm wanting to fish. And his favorite hula popper is 15 feet up in a tree.
Yeah.
And he's not happy. He's crying. I'm frustrated, and I can't get it out. And it was just a very uncomfortable meltdown kind of situation. Yeah. And I just, I think I just cut the line and grabbed everything, threw it in the truck, and let's just go. And so now I've just gave him an experience that has nothing positive about fishing.
Yeah.
Or the outdoors. And I realized that, man, I just need to think about this differently.
Yeah.
If you're going to take kids out, and I got a redemption of that, because we went out and we just had a simple little, 1/0 hook with a split shot. We have hot dogs or worms, and here's a sandwich. There's a Game Boy. Let's just go enjoy it. And he caught fish. They had a good time. There wasn't any, but it was just, I had the wrong attitude going into it.
Yeah.
And I got mad, and it, man, I wish I would have done it differently. Yeah. But I had to have that experience to appreciate the other experiences. Man, this is here for one reason. I just want to hang out with you. I want us to have fun.
Yeah.
And if we can just figure out how to do that simple, not complicated.
Yeah.
The total different outcome.
Well, the reason I'm laughing is because you made me have a memory when I went fishing with my dad. We were on a pier, and I cast the rod, but I let the rod go, and it flies in the water, and I lose the whole fishing rod. I look at my dad. I said, "Look at what you made me do." And I blamed it all on him. He'll never let me forget that, Yeah. And he still reminds me of that day. Remember that you threw that dang rod in the pond? You said, "Look at what you made me do." You blamed it all on me.
Well, yeah. Well, hopefully you had a chance. I mean, that happens even in a professional.
Yeah.
Forget to tie down the clamps on the deck of the boat, and you take off. And
this boat's sinking.
Well, no, the rod's flying, and you're going, "Oh, that's not cool." But yeah, again, it's great, but it's, it has its challenges.
I know.
Just the whole goal is just get outdoors.
Right.
I mean, maybe don't put the emphasis on fishing, or definitely not catching. Yeah. Just go out and have that as a possibility. Mm-hmm. But yeah, those are memories. How funny.
Yeah, it's just fun to reel them in, though, especially you get a big one on there, and the bass, especially when they jump up, and it's a blast.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, there's good days, there's bad, but what's the saying? There's never a bad day on the water, right?
Never. I mean, there could be some bad days if your boat's sinking, but
Yeah.
So I've had a situation where I had that happen, and it turned out to be a very fun. Everybody was safe, but I just bought a boat, and again, my son and a friend, we were going up here on Lake Travis, and I took in the water. I probably hadn't on the water 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's during the week, it's empty. So, and just kind of the motor
Yeah.
fell off.
Yeah.
The
Hit
only thing
something.
that was no, it bolt snapped on the transom.
Oh,
The only
wow.
thing keeping the motor from falling in the lake was the cables,
Yeah.
and it was like, wow,
Yeah.
that I don't even know what to do about that. Funny story. So I'm kind of on the phone. I'm calling, 911. So I come out here on Lake Travis and this is happening. I'm not real sure. Is there a boat rescue or something I can
Yeah.
get? And there's a funny story. The lady goes, "Sir, are you safe?" "Yes." "Can you see land?" "Yeah, I can see land. It's right there." She's okay. Well, we'll get somebody to come tow you. But
Yeah.
as I'm on the lakes. Not, I mean, I guess some lakes you might be
Right.
if you're on
Right.
Superior or something.
Right.
But anyways, that was a terrible day. It was
Yeah.
a terrible day, and but the memory we're here talking about it, laughing.
Yeah.
There's not probably a time when Shane and we all get together and we talking about it. We laugh,
Right.
but
Right. Remember
I
that
don't want
time,
that
man?
to happen.
Yeah.
But absolutely. And what we do, it's typically a father, an uncle, a grandfather, and the young student angler,
Mm-hmm.
and the stories just are immense of the memories that they're making on the water when they're
Yeah.
out fishing with them, because they get a whole day on the lake with them. They're fishing, they're making memories. They might be, they might win the tournament. They may have really good finishes, but I've never had anyone say, "Yeah, I wish we didn't do this."
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the year, even people that I talk to that have their kids have since graduated and are on and doing their journey, they go, "Those were the best moments ever."
Yeah.
That we were able to spend that much time with my son or daughter, or my grandpa, my grandkids. So
Yeah.
again, an unexpected consequence that we didn't really know what was
Mm-hmm.
happening when we decided to go this route. So yeah, well, it's beautiful.
That's amazing. I think it's an awesome thing you're doing, and if you've never heard of Faith Angler Network, check it out. I went through y'all's Instagram this morning, kind of looked at some examples and things that y'all are doing. It's pretty fantastic. And what's the website? Is it just
It's faithanglerNetwork.com. You can get to it through .org, but as a basic, it's faithanglerNetwork.com. And so
yeah?
Facebook it's all Faith Angler at something. I'm not the social guy, but
So y'all had over 10,000 students impacted since 2008. Congratulations. What do you see Fan heading into the future? What is your vision?
well, the reason I decided to put all in and
Mm-hmm.
go for Fan all in and dedicate the rest of my time here is to continue to grow and double that. And we want to try to reach, through the tournament, through the outdoor events. We want to reach 1,200 additional
Mm-hmm.
students. We want to kind of break the ground from not just sixth grade. We want to hold events for younger
Yeah.
kids. We want to fill the gap because even with our format today in a fishing, the tournament series, it requires an adult captain who owns a boat
Mm-hmm.
and two students. And what we're experiencing right now is there's not enough volunteers.
Yeah.
There's not enough captains that have boats that want to come support us.
Yeah.
And so there are kids that are in these programs that don't get to participate. And
So
to
you
me,
need more volunteers.
we need to get more guys that have boats who want to take these kids out fishing. That's the big gap. But we're also augmenting that by doing these fishing derbies.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you don't have that, but you still want to come out. We're going to have these events during our qualifying events where you come out, sign up, and you can fish from the shore.
Yeah.
And so they're going to get that same ability to connect and belong. They can form a team. They can be part of a team. They get the jerseys. They can come out and fish from the bank, and we'll recognize some categories for that. We're looking at doing just fish camps where we're working with a couple of folks that have ranches. So, I mean, the other thing is if you have a ranch that, you have a pond or a tank that has accessibility, we want to be able to take these other the ones that don't have access to all that, we want to take them out and give them a morning fish, have lunch, have just a moment to disciple and have a devotional. And we're also looking at, we've had a couple of people that have property that say, well, have you ever thought about doing some outdoor hunting, hog hunts, if you will. and said, yeah, that's definitely part of what we want to do to grow and touch and reach more youth for the outdoors. And so, that's a new thing for Fan, is how
Yeah.
we do that. We're launching a saltwater
Mm-hmm.
experience as well. We've always been freshwater,
Yeah.
and we're working with people out of Port A and Corpus that
Okay.
go, we need this, we
Yeah.
want this, and so we're looking at how do we can touch more kids in the coast.
Okay.
Those are just a few things that we're working on,
Okay.
and all of that takes resources. All of it takes volunteers, but all of it impacts students
Yeah.
for the kingdom and
Yeah.
and to help grow
I
their.
keep in my mind, I'm thinking about Fan, but I'm also thinking about FCA, which is fellow Christian
Mhm.
athletes, and like how those two almost the same thing, but like if you're not an athlete, it's another way to get in with Jesus, and through the school and stuff. And
Mhm.
so that's where my mind was just going for the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, we've talked of the same kind of mission
Mm-hmm.
with Crew, Campus Crusades for Christ, and with FCA and Young Life as well.
Yeah.
They're all have the same idea and the impetus to impact kids at a very very vulnerable stage in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at middle schoolers, that is the most severe.
Yeah.
From a
You still kind of you can still mold them more to sports.
Well, they're being molded.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, the forces that are out there are either the forces that are, the good, and the forces for evil. I mean,
Mhm.
I can just be bold that
Mhm.
there are purposeful intentions to attack and get those young minds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very scary proposition. And I
goes
don't
for
want to
this
use
thing, too.
scare tactics to get people to move, but the device right
Mhm.
there is, yes, there's some great things on that device,
Yeah.
but unfortunately there's more evil floating around out there, and some of it disguised to look good.
Mm-hmm.
And all we can do is speak truth.
Yeah.
All we can do is say, if you're feeling this way or this is that the spirit of the fruit? Is it biblical, or is it a spirit of flesh or the world?
Yeah.
And it's a big divide. And we just want to be able to address it, speak boldly about it, and then say, here are some things that you can to do about it.
Yeah.
We're planting seeds.
Yeah.
And a lot of our stories aren't, right there on the water. It's usually 5 years later where I talk to someone and go, wow, let me tell you where
Mm-hmm.
my life's been. It's something somebody said at an event,
Yeah.
clicked, and it made a difference for me. Now my marriage is much better. I have a much better relationship with my family. And it's just like, yeah, thank you, Jesus. Cause that's where it happens. It doesn't,
Yeah.
we're just a conduit
Yeah.
and a vehicle.
For sure. Absolutely. So if you're like you're in the hill country, Austin, but if you're like between Houston and San Antonio, where I'm at, like Schulenburg, and you want to get involved with Fan, can you start like how does one get involved with Fan to be a volunteer and all this? What's the process look like?
Well, first thing I would just ask your school, do you have a fishing program?
Okay.
And if the answer is yes, then I would submit, go represent your school.
Mm-hmm.
If the answer is, gee, no, maybe we'd like to, or just no, we're not interested, reach out to Jeff at Faith Angler Network, or go to our website, messages.
Mm-hmm.
We'll quickly assess the nearest program
Mm-hmm.
to your area, and we'll even come out and help you understand the requirements to establish a program. And it's pretty simple. We don't require a principal to sign off. We cover a full blown general liability policy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
as you know,
Yeah.
that covers Fan and our affiliates. So
Okay.
a school or a dad or a mom can say, well, I want to start a program, and we will help you with some basic how to set it up, some charters, whatever is necessary, and then you can come participate.
Okay.
And we do encourage you to do community events. We want you to be part of the community, and that's the neat thing. Like in Bernie, they have 2 really good programs, and they work with the community. They do lake and pond
Uh-huh.
cleanups, and that's equally important to us. It's
Yeah.
not just about fishing, but
Yeah.
reach out to Faith Angler Network. We'll be happy to help
Okay.
you address that.
Awesome. Anything we need to touch base on yet today? You think that we're missing that I forgot about? Anything that you uh, want to speak about too? Let me know.
No, I think maybe something that I would say to anyone that's listening out there that has been, has a successful career, or you're in corporate America, whatever you're doing, and you're saying, man, how do I go from success to significance?
Hmm.
Is don't overthink it. If you're passionate about something, golf, tennis, whatever it is, just and you feel God is nudging you to do it, go.
Hmm.
Um, I waited a long time and I wish I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I just would encourage anyone that's whether serving in church too. Okay, honestly, our churches need people to get out and just, we're called to do that. If you're going to be the body of Christ and the
Hmm.
church, and not just, but it's us. We are the body. Go serve. Don't hesitate, and just be obedient and be faithful.
For sure. Thank you for the day, Jeff.
Yeah,
It's been a
thank you.
pleasure.
I've enjoyed it
I
very
know
much.
you've inspired me to want to get involved today, so
Well, we
we'll
can
figure
talk.
some things out for sure. For sure. I love fishing, and it's always been a passion of mine. And I'm thankful for my parents, my grandparents, and I grew up doing that. And not everybody has that opportunity, so it'd be nice to share that opportunity with others too. So
I'm glad to be here and appreciate you and everything that you guys do for Fan 2. So thank you.
absolutely. God bless our listeners. Check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, and we'll be on the YouTube also. Thank you for listening today, and check out Fan and Jeff Cook and what he's doing. He's doing a great job, and God bless you and our listeners. Thank you all, guys.
Thank y'all.